Hey, Big Brother fans. On last night's live eviction, Chelsie got her way again, and Makensy evicted Rubina, keeping Cam. And then after the eviction, they played part one of the three-part HOH. And man, they might as well just go ahead and print out the check in Chelsea's name. Here's the latest from the live feeds, but please subscribe if you have not. Makensy and Cam both seem locked on taking Chelsie to the final two if they're the ones deciding. I had a little glimmer of interest when Cam mentioned to Makensy on the feeds and on the edited CBS episode about cutting Chelsie at final two, and that being his big winning move to tell the jury about. He's not wrong that that's a huge, possibly winning move, but first of all, I can't imagine Cam would be in a position to take that shot. And second, I doubt he'd have the stones to take out Chelsie if it came down to it. So when the live feeds came back up last night post-episode, they'd already played part one of the final HOH competition. So Makensy and Cam are facing off in part two because Chelsie won part one, giving her a bye to the final part three HOH comp against the winner of part two. Turns out Makensy was the first one out of the endurance comp, which involved slime and her taking a fall. I wonder if it's one of those merry-go-round, stand on a disc and get pummeled by stationary objects thing while being sprayed with slime, or something like bunny hop. Remember, where you have to hold your key and you're on a little pedestal and then you jump over the rotating turnstile. It probably didn't help that Chelsie was totally calm and in the zone after the eviction because everything went her way, just like she had manipulated it into happening. Meanwhile, Cam was kind of stressed and worried about going out number three. And Makensy was feeling sick about voting Rubina out to her face and questioning whether it's what she should have done. So after his second place status in part one, Cam seems really determined to win part two, but that doesn't mean that he's up to it. Meanwhile, Makensy was really beating herself up about losing and is having buyer's remorse about sending Rubina out because she would be easier to beat than Cam. If they were doing the bunny hop, I couldn't even imagine poor little Rubina making it one hop over. And I say that as a fellow short person. There's no way I could play that. Remember, this is the second time that Chelsie manipulated Makensy into taking out an ally, and both times she regretted it. The other time, of course, was when Chelsie Jedi mind tricked her into evicting Leah, who was a strong ally and a number for her. But woulda, coulda, shouldas are not going to get Makensy anywhere. She is at huge risk, and if Chelsea's the one deciding on final two, Makensy will probably be the last juror unless Cam does something really insane to burn his bridge with Chelsie. Part two of the HOH should play Friday or Saturday, with part three happening on Sunday's live 2-hour finale episode. And by the way, I mentioned that Derek Levasseur would be on the Thursday episode, but I misread my notes. He will be making an announcement on tonight's flashback show. And of course, they also confirmed last night that Taylor Hale is replacing Dr. Will as the jury roundtable host. Kind of interesting because I've seen just a crap pile of comments on Big Brother social media of fans asserting that Taylor is anti-Chelsie for one reason or another that I'm not going to unpack here because it's kind of messy. And also, the race is on to vote for America's favorite house guest. And this year, there's a couple of strong contenders to win it that are pre-jury, which is unheard of. Now, Victor Arroyo won AFP in BB18, and he was evicted pre-jury, but he battled back in and sat in the jury, so he doesn't really count. Cody Nixon in BB19 was evicted pre-jury, battled back in, was evicted into the jury. Also won AFP. Cameron Hardin was also evicted in BB25, but a weird zombie twist brought him back in, and then he was evicted as the first jury member, if I recall. Thinking back, and I rattled my brain cage, and then I did some research to double check my memory, and as far as I can see, no true pre-juror evicted house guest who was sent all the way home has ever won AFP. If I'm wrong, drop me a note, but that was what I remembered and then researched. And in this season of setting records, it definitely could happen. On one recent poll I saw on a Big Brother site, Tucker had the lion's share of votes. The other top poll responses were jurors or house guests that are still playing BB26. So be sure to vote for America's favorite house guest and check back soon for more on Derek's big announcement and the winner of HOH Part 2 as we enjoy the final moments of Big Brother 26.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.